Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Excuse me. We Blazers got eliminated from the NBA Cup last night. Is it just me or is the NBA Cup kind of hitting this year? I kind of been scoffing at it for at least last year, and this year I wasn't expecting much, but it's kind of fun. A little addition to the early season where games kind of start to matter a little bit more. And also it gives like young teams in particular a chance to build some momentum, and just winning is good for any team in the NBA. Last year, I think every pundit has said this, so it's nothing new, but I think it helped the Pacers quite a bit last year. Their deep run in the cup kind of translated to the NBA playoffs run. This year, there's a few young teams that have a chance to build some momentum. Obviously, the Thunder, but also the Rockets coming out as the number two seed in this cup, and the Magic as well. So I guess we can touch on the Blazers quickly first. They were in it there for a little bit, but kind of regressed back to the mean, sort of like the Pistons, another team that I think they're 3-0 until last night, and then they got hammered, and the point differential wasn't good enough. Was there anything you saw from the Blazers during this cup run? Anybody got any takes?
I just enjoyed watching them play better when they were playing the guys who are the future of our team. I feel like we looked better as a cup team during that. I think we looked better as a basketball team during that time. I just can't I can't overstate it. I've said it a million times on this podcast. We just have to move on from Anthony, and to maybe a slightly lesser extent, but we also need to move on from Ayton long term. But I think we got to get move on from Anthony immediately. Anyway, it was fun to watch them while it lasted. Even though those guys had some good games, we didn't tend to win as well with those guys at the helm. Felt like the excitement level was a lot lower. But it was cool to see them be competitive there for a while. I kind of agree. I think
Some
the NBA Cup has been fairly successful. I think a lot of the scoffing that's been happening is kind of at the idea that it's a little bit gimmicky. They're like trying to be soccer, they're trying to do these different things, but I can't lie. I kind of enjoyed it last year and I'm enjoying it more this year. I think it's working. I think it was a good idea. They had to kind of get through that initial, and they still are getting through that initial phase of skepticism, but I dig it.
There's a couple guys I want to talk about really quick while we're here on the Blazers. I know we're going to talk more about the Cup coming up here, but you can tell that guys are playing harder, and whether that's for the extra 500K or whatever it probably is for the money, right? For the young teams or whatever it may be.
winning too. I mean, these are all
Winning.
competitive guys.
It is. Um, there's a guy that stood out to me. He's been playing really well lately. Denny Advia. He has been just a menace on defense, on offense. He's been shooting way better, passing the ball. His defense is just been, he's hustling the ball up the floor. The play style I keep talking about where he brings the ball up the floor. I love it. Love it. And he had a stretch in there in like the second quarter, I think, or the end of the first quarter. Man, he was just lighting it up. And I think it's beyond time that he really comes back from the starting lineup. I know it's hard to replace somebody right now, which is probably a good thing. That's another reason why I'm okay with Jeremy Grant moving on at this point in time, even though Jeremy's not been an issue this year, in my opinion, with his play style. He's dialed back his shot selection. Um, Tamani had a good shooting night last night. The defense was a bit of an issue at times. It kind of collapsed here and there. There's more turnover issues again. Um, it just to me boils down to kind of what you said, Riley. The lack of a point guard really hurts you. Really hurts you. Anthony, 2 for 11, 0 of 6 from three, 6 assists, 3 turnovers. You know he's bad on defense. I, okay, I don't want to make this the harp on Anthony video. Okay, we won't. Who is another thing I want to see though, going forward when Klingon gets out on the floor, is some high screen and roll action with Denny as the ball handler and Klingon as the screen setter. Because I think that the space that Klingon screens can give
He sets
Denny,
good screens, man.
he sets good screens, and Denny is just so aggressive crashing to the rim. He draws fouls, and he is just aggressive. So I want to see that kind of action. I want to see it with Shaden too, of course, and Scoot, which I think Scoot and Klingon have looked pretty good in their limited time together. But Denny being a ball handler with Klingon, I want to see more of it. I want to see more of that lineup, just like we've talked about. That's what I saw in the Cup games. I saw the young team that we've talked about was exciting. I saw some spurts of excitement out there, development minutes from guys like Banton. Banton had flashes like Banton has had flashes all year. He has. Like I'm just gonna keep saying it. Shout out to him. He's been pretty efficient. I think he shot 40% from three on the year. He was 0 from 2 last game, but major improvements on that. Um, and just up and down the board, you like what you've seen from the young guys, but there's some vets that you're ready to move on from. We'll see what the trade deadline brings, but the cup, to summarize the cup, because I don't want to take all the time here.
I just want to say one more quick thing that Riley and you sort of both hinted at this, but Simons and Aiton, coming back, and that's a problem. We've discussed that at length. But really, I don't even think that's the issue right now. I think that the thing that hurt the Blazers more was Scoot, Klingon, Robert Williams all went down with injuries. None of those guys were available in the last game in particular. Those are like three of the best sort of cornerstone players of the younger team, you know, down to one big guy, Aiton. Can you even call him a big guy? I guess you can, but he is big. He looks big. The dude is jacked, but and then no point guard. And, that's because Simons is on the floor and he's not a point guard, but also you don't even have one coming off the bench. So yes, Simons and Aiton's coming back. Like, I don't really know if that did the damage. I think it's more losing those guys. And Scoot just has not been able to stay on the floor in his couple years in Portland. And it's starting to get to that point where it's like, man, I need to see him out there for a several month run real soon, or else I'm gonna
Yeah.
start getting worried because he just keeps having little
The
nagging
good
injuries that
the good
nothing that
thing are,
serious, but
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The good thing is Robert Williams, the biggest injury scare of them all, it's a concussion, which you don't want concussions, but it's not like it's a wear and tear injury. Scoots was caused by like a car incident and it's like a bruise. Same
is
with
it a
Clink. So
quad?
it's like, are they
I
holding him
thought he
out
like
just to be safe? Probably.
Yeah, I don't really understand what's going on with Scoot. I haven't looked into it in depth because I thought he hurt his quad in game and then he was in a car wreck where he hurt his lower back.
He came back for one
And
game and he played
he,
well in
he
that
did
game.
come back and the injury report has him out for quadriceps. So I
Yeah,
don't really know exactly what the extent of his injury is. And then yeah,
it's
Klingon with
minor.
the knee
It's
sprain.
minor.
You're right that they're all minor injuries, but it still did hurt just as far as the
Yeah.
cup goes, and it hurts their competitiveness, it hurts their depth. You want to see those guys out on the court. And right now, I don't think they're not out there because of Aiton and Simons. I think they're not out there because they're hurt.
Right. Long story short, I do think that you're going to see one more year of them being definitely overcautious when there's a smaller injury, just because, yes, you want to see the development. We have seen spurts of it. I want to see them on the floor just as much as you guys. But if a guy is dinged up, they're not going to risk a long-term ACL tear rather than just say, okay, just sit out one more game. You're going to play 10 games in a row here. But if you get a pulled hammy, you're going to sit out next game because if we lose one more year, that's okay. Again, I think we're on the right timeline here. We've seen some more flashes this year. Let's just not get over concerned about it. But
Right, the NBA Cup isn't worth a torn ACL, but
yeah,
I do miss those guys. I hope they come back soon.
I
So
agree.
yeah, looking at the rest of the cup, we're down to the knockout stage now. I'm interested to see what happens. I think is it next Tuesday? It's the 10th and the 11th, which is
Tuesday and Wednesday.
yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday next week. On Tuesday, Bucks Magic at Bucks and Mavericks at Thunder. And then on Wednesday, the Hawks at the Knicks and the Warriors at the Rockets. Should I start? Oh, maybe we can talk about each one individually and make our predictions. So let's start west or east. Where do you guys want to start?
Start in the East.
Let's start in the east. Magic at Bucks. That's actually a tougher call than I thought it was going to be. If Paolo is in that game, I think that the Magic would probably win it. The Bucks obviously went on that 6 or 7 game win streak or whatever, but then looked pretty human tonight. Got beat by the Hawks. What do you guys think? I want to hear what you guys have to say before I go out on a limb here and make my prediction.
Go ahead, David.
Giannis looks like a monster right now. He's having some incredible games. I think that the Bucks are in a pretty good place. I mean, obviously the Bucks long term for this season, I don't see them being a serious contender for the championship, even with their star players playing this well. Just because I don't think their supporting cast is good enough. But in this context, with Giannis as hot as he is, playing against a relatively inexperienced Magic team that's missing their best player, we think they're still going to be missing their best player. I think the Bucks are going to get it done. If Paolo comes back, which I don't think he probably will for Tuesday, but if he did come back, they're also going to have a little bit of growing pains as they try to figure out because Franz Wagner has like come into his own as like a star player in the last couple of weeks, few weeks. He's looked really, really good. And, I heard some guys talking yesterday on the commentary talking about how when Paolo comes back, they're going to have to figure out how to keep that going and really have a solid 1-2 punch, which they could. They very well could once Paolo comes back. I don't think the Magic are going to be able to get it done without Paolo and without some time to integrate, even if he did come back. So I think the Bucks will get it done in this game, but not for the whole season.
Yeah. And the last cup game that I saw, the Magic were getting obliterated by the New York Knicks. And I know that we'll talk about the Knicks and the Hawks in a little bit. I just don't know. We'll see what happens. The Bucks are just kind of this odd team, and I know they've been really hot lately. They will definitely have the best player in the series, or in the cup. Uh, the best player in the whole cup, I guess, really. Um, but will they kind of play down to the competition here as they've kind of done in the playoffs because of injuries, or will they just kind of treat this like it's the playoffs and say, all right, this is what you're going to see come, May and April and June, right? Um, we'll see what happens. I think Giannis will come out aggressive like he has been. I think the Bucks will take it, obviously, just because Paolo's out. Dame, we'll see if Dame wants to add a cup to his trophy case, and he'll have like the bubble MVP and the cup trophy, two of the most random awards ever. And like, rookie of the year and like
Does he have a
the
play-in banner? I think he has at least one play-in
an
banner, doesn't
All-Star
he?
game MVP, like the most random awards ever, right? Um, so we'll see what Dame's got cooking in that one as well. But he's had some good games as well here and there. I feel like he's kind of been on like a roller coaster this season. He's either really poor or really good. So we'll see what he's got.
I love the way I was when you emphasized really, I was expecting you to say good, and then you said poor. And I threw me off. I thought that was
Well,
funny.
he has had some really good games, but he's had some really bad games. Like he's really
Really
yeah.
poor. Yeah, you guys convinced me. I think it's probably the Bucks. They just have the two veteran guys. The thing is, it is crazy how it's just a single game. If it was a series, I think it would be the Bucks, but pretty obviously. But
That's
because
why
it's
the
a
cup
not,
is fun.
yeah, it can just one hot shooting night. Jalen Suggs goes 5 for 6 from three or whatever, which is a wild take. But if it happens, they're gonna win the game. I was looking at Fran's stats, and he's shooting like 9% from three in the last 3 games in this month. He's still scoring and he's getting in the line and everything, but no one's 3-point shooting is really their Achilles heel, as we talked about last week, I think.
They need Anthony.
They do. They need a shooter or two on that team. Yeah, I think it'll probably be the Bucks. Quick clarification, Riley. The Nuggets aren't in this cup. I just realized because we were watching earlier today, and they were talking about I think Wendy had the five best players
Oh,
in the cup, and Jokic wasn't on there, and we were like, how is that possible? And the Nuggets aren't even in the cup. So,
it's true.
Hawks at Knicks. I feel more confident about this one. Knicks look really good right now. They're kind of hammering teams lately. Seems like they're playing Tibbs defense with a bunch of offensive firepower too. Karl Anthony Towns took no time to adjust to his new home. Seems to be playing really well. Yep, Colton, I know. Timberwolves got fleeced on that one. Brunson, freaking Bridges, they're good. They're stacked, and so I got the Knicks beating the Hawks. I don't think Trey's going to be able to do his thing to the New York crowd in this particular night.
I tried to tell y'all how stupid this trade
You didn't have
was.
to tell us. You didn't
I'm
have to
not even
tell us
saying
twice.
y'all as in y'all, you two. I'm
Uh,
just saying how stupid of a trade. I get
you
it.
should
The
talk to the
cat
Timberwolves
flexibility,
staff.
but I've been a cat like in the cat corner for a while. The kitty corner, the cat corner, right? For a while. I think he just got like media slandered because of Jimmy Butler, the guy that flops more than James Harden. Look it up to get his points at the free throw line. Fun fact. Um, I think that
Really don't like the Heat ever since
cat.
that Dame thing.
No, I
I'm
just
like
think the
all in on
cat.
taking the Heat,
I just think
which
the
is fair. It's
cat
fair.
gets unfairly criticized in a lot of situations, and he's just balled out. He's done nothing but ball out. I don't know if you guys have seen some of his like crazy highlights he's had. He had like a turnaround jumper where he was like,
Yeah,
he's getting bodied in the post and
yeah.
he like
I saw it.
stared down the ref and then he just instantly turned around and shot it and made it and just stared down the ref. That was cold. That was like a Kobe type. I'm not exaggerating. That was like a Kobe type thing. Um, Not saying he's Kobe, but my point is Knicks Knicks could be my pick in the East this year if they can keep putting it together. And they're my pick in this game now. Uh, I think that the Hawks actually have been one of my surprise teams of the year. Like whenever I watch them, they just seem competitive and fun. And I think a lot of that has been speared by Dyson Daniels. But I don't know if that's enough to stop kind of the firepower the Knicks have got rolling. And my boy Josh Hart. Shout out Josh Hart.
Yeah, I mean, I think that trade is probably, for one thing, like the best thing that could have happened to the Knicks, getting rid of Julius Randle and picking up Cat. I mean, that's insane. And honestly, I think it might be the best thing that could have happened to Cat too, because look at the guy. Like he is re-energized. He looks good. He looks good physically. I think he lost a few pounds. Not that it was ever like a huge problem, but he just looks athletic right now. And like, yeah, that game last night where they just manhandled the Magic. It was it almost got to a point where it was hard to watch, but it was, I don't know if you guys know or remember, but the Magic had to lose by less than 36 in order to stay in the cup. And it was a 36-point game with like 4 minutes left. And then Tibbs put in all the, bench warmers and they were able to get it under 36. But I mean, it was a slaughter. And if they'd left their starters in and like played it out, if they had a reason to want the point differential, if New York had, I mean, they probably could have won that game by 42, 44, largely on the back of Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, I think he looks great. I think the Knicks look great. I don't think they're going to beat the Knicks by 40, but I think or the Hawks by 40, but I think they are going to win.
One quick
Easily.
note on the Knicks as far as their playoff hopes go. I feel like they're one bench guy away. They got five great players, and Deuce is good too. But looking kind of outside of that, just campaign, you know, one more guy. If they had one more guy coming off the bench, then it could help them with their minutes too. Tibbs doesn't have to play all their starters 45 minutes a game and have that whole thing happen that happened last year where the team kind of breaks down. Should we go to the East Finals or should we go to the West first?
East Finals.
All right, so I guess we all have Bucks and Knicks. I'm rolling with the Knicks on this one. I think pretty much for a lot of the same reasons we already talked about. New York looks really solid right now. Milwaukee looks really shaky. Um, five great players versus two great players. New York, a lot of momentum right now. Probably better coached too, maybe.
Not probably.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Knicks to make it to the championship or the cup final.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. I agree. I just watched the Knicks beat a really good team by 40 points, so they're rolling right now.
I'm gonna actually say the Bucks are gonna win just because I just have this weird Colton prediction here. I just think that Damian is gonna get fouled on two different three-point shots at least that game. He's gonna do his classic where he stops and pulls up from three. That
Is he
that kind of
making one
game.
or one or two of them?
I don't know. It's just gonna be one of those kind of games where it's like Giannis is getting those calls. They're getting to the line. They're
If
racking up those big kind of free throw game. Kind of
if
slowing the game
Taurean
down.
Prince hits like four threes,
Yeah, we got Pat Connaughton, 17 points appearance. Bobby Portis is kind of
Gary Trent Jr.
having
locking
one of
down
those.
Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I, it could be wrong, but the Bucks did get smacked last game or lose last game, their last game they played, but they have been playing a lot better. And I think that they'll wake up and they'll kind of try and show that they have what they got here. I think they'll win this game. It'll be on their home floor.
I can see it, but I still think
I
the
do
Knicks.
wonder about Chris Middleton. I don't know if he would be able to come back and add a lot. Like really, he probably wouldn't be in game shape and stuff like that. But I've kind of heard he's maybe preparing to come back, and
How
that
many
would
teams have
add
we
a bit
said
of
that in the last like 3 seasons?
true. Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right, let's go to the West. Mavericks at Thunder. Boy, this is a crazy game. Rematch from the playoffs last year. All those games were close. All those games super competitive. Mavericks just pulled it out at the end every time. What do you guys think? I'm gonna let's have Colton go first this time.
Oh,
Tough one.
this is another one where the Mavericks have really not been putting it all together this year.
Although they have won like six straight at five or six
They've been
straight.
play yeah, well, so they've had a rough start to the year is how I meant to phrase it. But here we go. When Luca gets into the big games, big things happen. Um, I think
Luka
that
Magic.
I think that when they played in the playoffs, it's exactly what happened, and I think it's going to happen again. I think the Mavericks are going to upset the Thunder here. It's going to be highly contested. Obviously, I could see the Thunder absolutely blowing the Magic. I keep saying the Mavericks out. And I wouldn't be surprised, but I just have this weird sneaky Mavericks by two type game prediction.
I thought I was going to be the only one to take the Mavericks. I thought I was going to be the outsider here. I'm not going to change it though, just to give us something to talk about and argue about. I think it's going to be the Mavericks. I think it's going to look a lot like the playoffs did last year. The Thunder are they look really good, and if they get out and running, and like you said, they could blow out the Mavs, and I think that's their best chance is to blow them out. If they can get up by 15, 20 points in the first half. I think they have that ability, and then they would win the game most likely. I don't think it's going to happen though. I think it's going to be a bit of a slow grinder. Yeah, or not exactly a grinder, but just I think that Luca is going to quash every time they get on one of those runs, because he's just hitting everything right now. I think it is going to be high scoring, very high scoring, that kind of grinder. And I think the Mavs are going to get it done.
Man, I've flip-flopped about three times over the course of this conversation on who I think is gonna win. I almost for the sake of argument, like you said, Riley, I thought about taking the Thunder. Mm, I do feel like Chet is a big loss for the Thunder, though. They pretty much just have Hartenstein, who's been playing fucking amazing. coming out the gates this season so far. But you know, Wash or now I'm calling the Mavericks Washington. What is
You're getting my slips
I think
there.
I saw PJ Washington's name as I was looking on here. But the Mavericks have the two bigs, they used really well last year, that dual threat, and the Thunder really only have one. If Chet was in this game, I think it'd be different. But I think the fact that Dallas kind of has the size advantage, they have the clutch advantage, I think. God, the Thunder have been playing really well though.
I
Boy,
just
that's a
I just feel
tough
like
decision.
nothing's really changed that much since the last playoffs. Like these are the same discussions we were having at the end of last year about the same guys. And guess who won?
Yeah, I would have taken the Thunder like a few days ago because the Mavericks look kind of shaky. Like DJJ not having him anymore changes things a little bit, but I think the fact that they've won five straight, they look like they are building momentum, taking it seriously. Yeah, I'm gonna join you guys. I'm gonna go with the Mavericks.
Wow. That's pretty crazy to
I
me.
didn't
Clean
expect
sweep
that.
of the underdog on that.
I
I
think
thought I
it
was
could
going to
be
be the only one as well.
I think it could be different come playoff time, though. I think that might be the Thunder's chance to shine, especially if they can get Chet back. I think things could be different there. It might be their chance to break through.
In a series.
Warriors and Rockets, I'm taking the Rockets all day. Warriors are pretenders, man. Colton, you were right on the money with that. They look like not good the last couple of weeks. I think they've lost 5 for 6 straight. Draymond can F off.
Whoa. I just want to rewind back to what we said a couple weeks ago when you were like, "What happened to your prediction, man?" And I was
I
like,
was just asking. Just asking.
"I know, I know."
I'm the
Um,
questions guy.
they've lost five straight. Yeah,
Yeah, they look. It's Steph has to do way too much. I knew that those guys would come. I
that's
mean,
what I thought.
I didn't even really disagree with. I never really disagreed with you. They started off hot. There's no doubt about it. But like, it's like the Cavs. When are the Cavs gonna come crashing back down to earth? Those guys, they're playing really well or whatever with the Warriors. They start off, but Buddy Healed, he's not
The
a
Cavs have
proven.
way more depth than the Warriors. They've got Garland, they've got Mobley. Mobley's been playing really well. They have a bench. The Thunder, man, I cannot say the teams right today. The
Why aren't the
Warriors,
Cavs in this tournament? That's
they didn't play
crazy.
well in the cup games.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't not to get sidetracked on the Cavs, but Garland, I don't know, man. Every time I've seen him play in big games, he doesn't really show up. He kind of has had some bad playoff runs. I just don't know if I trust those guys on that team. But
Point
as
being,
far as
let's,
as far as contenders go, but okay, yeah, you want to go back to the
sorry. I just wanted to say Warriors seeming to be dropping to where I thought they'd be
yeah.
out of the playoffs. I
How
hope.
about touch on the Rockets before you guys take over? They what a team this year. They're exciting. They're kind of a bit of a template for you've mentioned this, Colton, for hopefully that's what the Blazers look like in a year or two.
Yep.
Um, yeah, the defense, the Jalen, the Fred, the Shingun, the deep bench with a bunch of young guys that look like complete studs. Kind of it's like Thunder, Rockets, Blazers next? Maybe.
Well, I'll just say that I think that Rockets fans have a whole lot to be excited about. I think that they're going to be a serious contender for many years to come. They look like world beaters already. I think they're going to give whoever they come up against in the West fits. If not, make it out of the West themselves. I think they might be a little young yet, but cup game, guys, one game, single elimination. Steph Curry, I, I think the Warriors are going to win. I think they're going to win this one game. I think if it was a series, I think I'd have the Rockets. I think they'd figure it out. I think that the Rockets are more talented in totality, but I mean, the Steph just needs to put him on his back for one game. If he cares, I mean, I think he cares. I think he's just a competitive enough guy. He cares about all these games. So yeah, I got the Warriors.
Yeah, I agree with what you were saying. Before that, I do think that the Blazers might, That's the template moving forward. We don't have to go too deep down that road. That's what I've been excited about for the rebuild. Model it after the Thunder and the Rockets. They both did it. That's what you want to do. Get those young assets, rebuild, build your core with your own guys. As far as this cup game goes, I don't want to agree with you, Riley, because my just anti-Warriors flow. It's like let the hatred flow through you, like strike them down so you can become more powerful. But I think that they will win this game as well. I'd love to be wrong.
Boo.
I'd love to be wrong, and I'd love to pick the upstarts rather than the sliding, because one team is sliding and one team is not. Well, I mean, Rockets lost their last game, but I think they're going to pull it out as well. I think the ratings board will make it happen if they need to. And by that, I mean Steph will get any calls he needs to. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So that leaves a little bit of a different West Finals for me, Mavericks and Rockets. I think Mavs experience takes the cake on that one. If they're beating the Thunder, they're gonna beat the Rockets. Good game though, but yeah, I guess I'm taking Mavericks and Knicks in the Cup final.
Yeah. In a series like this, these single elimination games, I think it so often just comes down to, who has the guy who has the will, who can put the team on the back for those like last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, as long as it's a close game. And I think that in this case, I think the Mavs are better enough than Golden State, and Luka is comparable enough to Steph in terms of clutch. I think the Mavs are going to get it done. So I have the Mavs over the Warriors, and so I have um, them going to the final.
I think it's honestly kind of the opposite in these single games sometimes, and it's what role players get hot. Because,
And
like you said earlier, Kirby, who did you say? I can't remember. Jalen Suggs. If Jalen Suggs goes 5 for 6 in a game,
Torian
I haven't really
Prince.
said that a lot since then, but that can be. But I do agree. I think the Mavericks will take this game from the Warriors, who I predicted. I think the Mavericks will face the Bucks in my scenario in the championship.
Anybody want to go for it? Riley, let's hear your final
all
prediction
right, so
first.
I have the Mavericks and the Knicks then, which I think is that would be a fun game to watch. I think I got the Mavericks. I don't know that I would have picked the Mavericks to like win this cup at the beginning of it, but I think that they're a pretty well constructed team, and Luka looks like he's on a tear. As long as he keeps going, I don't know that the Knicks are going to be able to get it done. But that'd be a fun one to see. That'd be in Vegas, so no home court advantage for anybody.
What do you think,
Since
Kirby?
I'll stick with since me and Riley have the same game, I am going to take the New York Knicks just to make
See
things
it.
a little bit more interesting. I feel like they look really good right now. Playing really good defense. Brunson versus Doncic, former teammates going at it. It'll be fun to watch. Probably trading clutch buckets down the stretch. Just in this particular instance, Karl Anthony Towns also a little bit of experience against the Mavericks. I think they get hot for a game and they take it.
I've always been the proponent of rebuild, but in this instance, I'm the proponent. Yes. I don't know if he'll win a ring in Milwaukee, but I think he'll win a cup. So I'm going to pick the Bucks in this just to kind of give us a roundtable of different options, but also just because I think it would be kind of cool to see. Um, and it'd be interesting to see as well, just kind of how that goes down in crunch time with Giannis there. In one game, winner take all on a neutral site, like you said in Vegas. I would hope it would come down to the clutch Luka versus Dame. That would be really cool. Uh, Kyrie, Giannis, like Clay, who's been bricklayer, and then who else? Whoever else the Bucks got. I think it'd be fun.
Torian Prince.
Yeah. So I'm taking the Bucks.
All right, so who do you guys want to win? I want to see the Magic and the Rockets in the finals. I just want to see the upstarts. I want to see the young guys.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a Rockets stan lately, honestly. I don't like Dylan, but the rest of that team is badass, and so I hope the Rockets make a deep run.
Yeah, I'd probably either go with the Rockets or the Knicks. I am enjoying watching the new look Knicks, and I'm enjoying seeing Cat be successful somewhere, or continue to be successful in a new role, with a little bit more passion than I've seen from him in a while. But yeah, I'd love to see the Rockets and the Knicks. Probably take the Rockets.
I would like the Knicks to win as well. That's it.
Nice, really. You're a
Yes.
cat guy.
Yep. Been on board
Cat
with.
kitty corner. Yeah, I hope the Rockets, like we said, just a blueprint for the Blazers moving forward. A lot of similarities, a lot of that youth, a lot of kind of young depth, veteran role
One
players,
more
stuff like
year.
that. Thunder, Rockets, Blazers. Let's go. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.